Come discover off-road riding and racing in the 7 western states. Host Ricky Johnson, 6-time Supercross and multi-time outdoor motocross and trophy truck champion, keeps it real and takes us along his motorsports adventures from Mexico to Vegas. Get connected to living the off-road lifestyle. Side-by-side, single-track, trophy trucks, anything with wheels. Ricky and top drivers from all disciplines show us how it's done.
When getting ready for a monumental race like Vegas to Reno, there's a lot of preparation that goes into it. We at 395 Off-Road and Carson City Motorsports take it very seriously. So we headed out to Fort Johnson in Ocotillo Wells, California to do a lot of testing and driver training.
The dialogue is going to be interesting, and I just hope we're still best of friends at the finish line. We might have to go to couples therapy just to work out the beefs, but it's going to be an exciting 4 or 5 hours in the car.
Come on, little race car, you can do it. How do the shocks feel?
Just a hair, just a little stiff.
A hair stiff in the rear.
Brakes are good.
They came in good.
Dead pedal's in a good spot, you know, when I need it. Okay, and then the last thing was after things were going, things felt good. I fucking hammered it up the sand wash, like where you're gonna load the shit. We got the belt to 240. 245 or stuff like that.
Higher than he wanted, Chris, right?
I mean, we lived there for 300 miles, you know, as far as temp was at the last race. But
I mean, you got there and then immediately pulled out of it, right?
Yeah. We stayed away from baking it. You know? Oh no, I mean it's very impressive out of the box. You know how it is when you kind of wonder. Hi, I'm Ricky Johnson. We're just moments away from the Vegas to Reno by Best in the Desert. We're down here in Prim, Nevada doing some final touches. We're working with Chris from KWI Clutches. We're making some small adjustments. When it comes to these centrifugal clutches, you can't just throw at it and just guess if it's going to work. You have to try the different things. What we found is we have great acceleration off the corner, but we need a little bit lighter clutch arm at the top to get a little bit more RPM at the finish, because here in Vegas to Reno, we go from sea level up to sometimes 5,000 and 6,000 feet. And every time you go up in elevation, it brings down the horsepower and also brings down the RPM. So we're doing those fine adjustments on the clutch. You can see the guys working in the background. What they're doing is they're taking a stock arm and grinding it down. On some of the arms, you can add weights in different spots, but we like the torque of the stock arm. We just want to lighten that arm just a little bit. I hope I'm not giving away too much to our competition, but we're trying to fine tune this. Everybody from 395 Off-Road and Carson City Motorsports has been working for months for this. And so it comes down to these final touches before the green flag drops at the Best in the Desert, Vegas to Reno.
The last few months rebuilding the cars in the shop, it's been a lot of isolation with just me and my small crew at 395 Off-Road. And being able to have, you know, everyone together, and it also it's nice to have a few extra hands, you know, helping get kind of some of the stuff done when we get to these races. And it's always great to see that validation of the work that you're doing, not only being appreciated, but you know, being put to use. So I love being around everyone and the energy that goes into the race, and happy that, you know, we're delivering a car that brings everyone together.
You can't just go there and think you're going to shake down the car and everything is going to be perfect. We took one car all the way down to the bare bones and completely rebuilt it, changed the tire position on the back, some different, all the same geometry, but a little bit different in the chassis.
Overall, I feel like it's going to be a better package, period. We completely reworked all of the wiring, got everything dialed in, cut down, all brand new Deutsch connectors on everything. The factory harness, after going through, you know, 2 or 3 iterations of building these cars, they were starting to show their age, and they needed a lot of touch-up work, and it was starting to give us grief that was hard to diagnose in the field. So we elected to pull all of the wires out of both of them and completely redo them, and so far in our testing today, it's been fantastic. It's gotten rid of all the gremlins that we've had issues with. It's given us a lot more adjustability, a lot more things that we're able to do with the cars. On top of that, we also did a lot of chassis modifications to one of the cars that was in a wreck. We had to get it kind of back from the dead. It got a whole trailing arm ripped out of it. The top of the cage was a little bit bent up and just needed a lot of love. So that got cut down and built back up again to the shop spec, which is held to a very high standard. And it turned out amazing. it's handling great today.
The other vehicle was the same that we ran in the Baja, Nevada, but we want to be better. So we brought out Wayne Israelson from All-Tech Suspension to work with us, and we made some small adjustments on the older car to get what we call stuffability. So when you make that mistake and you drive into that hole, when you hit it, it doesn't bottom out and throw you over the handlebars like what happened to Davy Jones.
You know, I was just settling in the race. Everything was just going along really nice and fine, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh no, you know, it's like everything is going well, you're settling in, next thing you know, you're rolling. So that was a real kind of eye-opener for me, you know, just how quick something can happen like that in these races.
We had an incident in our last race, but, you know, not to be unexpected, I'd say, with the guy coming into the sport.
You know, there was a lot of stress put on that car early on in the race, and then I felt fantastic for the first 14 miles, and then it all went to hell. You know, it made for an exciting night. My first car race in the desert. I spent 4.5 hours roasting hot dogs at a campfire after tearing down some farmer's fence to make the fire, and we walked 2.5 miles to a makeshift pit, and we had a nice romantic evening out in the desert.
So we got to make sure that we give the drivers a great race car. But you can't just make it for that big hole, and I think that's where a lot of people make mistakes. They say they go to one giant hole or one big whoop section and they try to tune it for that. What we've done at 395 Off-Road and Carson City Motorsports is make a very, very drivable race car and very fast race car on 99%, and we give up just a little bit on that 1%. Also, we're working with the drivers. Louie Franko, done so many Baja wins, was cameraman in Dust to Glory, very, very decorated when it comes to two wheels, but very little four-wheel experience in an off-road car. But he's very talented when it comes to stunts, precision driving, sliding, all of that, but we have to fine-tune his skills. So we got Louie behind the wheel. I got a chance to work with him. He's very comfortable, very fast, very fluid in the race car, and I think we're going to see great things out of 1809, which is starting with Louie Franko, myself, and then it goes to Davy Jones and Joe Kirsch.
Well, like you said, you know, I've never done this race before, and from what I hear, we're going to be battling dust for the first 50, 80 miles until it opens up a little bit. But I'm going to trust your dad's judgment, instincts, and ability to navigate. And I'm going to do exactly what he tells me to do. I'm going to go fast when he tells me to go fast. I'm going to slow down when he tells me to go slow. And when it says it's good to pass, it's on. We're just going to go make the pass. I guess you couldn't ask for a better co-driver than, you know, Rick Johnson in the right seat.
Now let's talk about the new vehicle, 1810, which is a complete rebuild from Matt Tessier and also 395 Off-Road.
I'm really proud of the product that we're able to put out. It's very high end, very high quality. Anything that needs to be redone is redone, no questions asked. So we're able to basically just get these cars dialed in the way we want to, when we want to.
And the work that we've done with Wayne Israelson to get these cars balanced out and working as well as they do. I mean, we're able to charge some stuff that, you know, every new person we put in the car is flinching, and we, you know, go right on through it. So I couldn't be more proud of how both cars are handling, especially with the new chassis 2 coming right off the table and into the desert.
We had to take a car that was pulled apart and broken in a lot of different directions and make it safer and try to make it faster at the same time. Obviously, with the rules in NA, you cannot change the basic chassis, the pickup points or anything like that. So we kept the main structures, we got them straight, but when it came to mounting the rear tire, we made a small change there and just ergonomically changed it and made it a little bit more comfortable for the drivers. Surprisingly, which this almost never happens, when we got out to Fort Johnson in Ocotillo Wells, California, we didn't touch anything. Once Wayne Israelson from All-Tech Suspension came out, we said that we do want to make some small suspension adjustment to the compression, but that's going to be after the race. Right now, it's a very fast race car. We need to have Luke Johnson and Lucas Kassity run it, and then after the race, do our download, our AAR, our after action report, and see the changes that we can make. But right now, the car is plenty fast. The drivers just got to give it their all.
Going into this year's Vegas to Reno, it's a race that I'm familiar with, raced it quite a few times now. Now knowing the pace of what this car needs to get from point A to point B, You know, I have a responsibility to deliver a car to Lucas to take on the second half of this race. So, you know, we're starting in the 15th position. I'd like to think that I can get the car somewhere into the top 5. There's a lot of attrition in this class of people over driving cars. And I can't win the race in the first half. Lucas has proven to be a very solid driver. He's getting faster, more confident every time he gets in. So my goal is to bring him a car inside the top 5, and just have him something solid to get home.
So I'm really confident. I know that Luke's going to bring me a good car and hand it off to me in perfect condition. That's kind of my home ground, so I feel comfortable in that terrain in the last couple hundred miles. At our Las Vegas to Reno, we finished 4th, and I'm hoping to come close to that or do even better. And I have a lot of confidence in the car and all of our teammates, so I think we can do really well.
When it comes to racing, so many people get caught up in the inanimate object, meaning the vehicle, suspension, clutch, motor, all of these different things. But without the human element, it's just a car, it's just a piece of metal sitting there. Our team here at 395 Off-Road and Carson City Motorsports, we have a wide variety. You got the old dog that's raced everything from motorcycles, off-road trucks, trophy trucks, and now side-by-sides. You got Luke Johnson, who's raced short course, won championship, raced buggies, raced trophy trucks, 6100, and now he's also back in a UTV. You take Lucas Kassity, who is a young gun. He's our youngest guy. He's only raced 4 to 5 times in his whole life in a side-by-side, and now he's propelled to the front. Now you bring in the 2 guys that are a little bit more on the veteran side when it comes to age, but when it comes to experience in off-road, they don't have that much. First is Davy Jones, one of the most decorated open-wheeled racers and also won Le Mans, one of the best racers that America has ever produced, but he doesn't have that much off-road experience. He's ridden motorcycles, and since the Mint 400, he's bought his own side-by-side, and he goes out with his wife, Rachel, and is getting more and more used to reading the terrain and also getting more familiar with what I call dirt knowledge. Then we bring in the wild card, which is Louie Franko. Young motocross racer, started racing when he was 8 years old, went to the pro ranks, went to Europe and raced motorcycles for factory KTM back in the late 80s and early 90s. Then he became a superstar when he did all the filming for Dust to Glory, chasing Mouse McCoy around the desert for that race. That created a passion for Louie that he started racing off-road. Then he became the go-to guy for so many teams in Class 30, Class 40, now Class 50, to be that guy that can always put that bike up there. But he has not had 4-wheel experience. He's an established stuntman, very good at what they call not precision driving, but stunt driving. But when you're racing off-road cars, it's a completely different environment. So they hire me to ride with Louie. So now I go from giving up my left side driver's side to the right side coach, and we're gonna see how well Louie Franko can do. But I feel very confident about this team of Louie, Davy, Luke, and Lucas. I think we have 4 great drivers from completely different backgrounds.